So on NXT, we saw a major shocking title change, and I'm not talking about Ethan Page defeating Ricky Starks for the North American Championship. It was Jayne, the rock star of NXT, pulling off a shocking upset and dethroning Stephanie Vaquer of the NXT Women's Championship. Now, as I said, I was going to make a video talking about this, and I wanted to give my thoughts on this, because I've always liked Jayne. Out of all the members of the Toxic Attraction, I always liked Jacy more. I mean, obviously I liked Mandy Rose more, but out of Jacy and Gigi, I always preferred Jacy over Gigi. Even though Gigi has a more cooler finisher than Jacy. All Jacy does is just a rolling punch to the face, which is, not entirely creative, but, it just won her the biggest title in NXT, so I guess it's devastating enough in its own way. But the only reason why this ultimately ended up happening is because of the fact that Stephanie Vaquer was being brought up to the main roster. So I have a few questions. If they knew all along that Stephanie Vaquer was being called up to the main roster, why were they teasing this whole thing of Lola Vice potentially challenging Stephanie Vaquer for the title? And also, why did they not have Jordynne Grace beat Stephanie for the title? It's pretty weird, if you ask me. I know apparently I've been hearing rumors that Jordynne Grace also might be getting called up to SmackDown, because obviously Triple H is ending the brand split and all that other crap, so in the end he basically got what he wanted, so I'm not all that surprised. But Jayne becoming NXT Women's Champion really opens up a lot of possibilities, and unfortunately, this is the sad truth. I don't see her title reign being long. The unfortunate truth is I don't see this reign being very long. It's possibly just going to be a transitional reign. If Jordynne Grace isn't being called up, which to be honest, I don't think Jordynne Grace should be called up unless they're bringing in Mariah May, as Jordynne Grace's replacement. I don't really know. But all I can say is this. Regardless, she's not going to be champion for long, which is unfortunate. I don't think she'll have a long reign. Jordynne Grace or Mariah May are probably just going to waltz in and just win the title. If it's not going to be Jordynne Grace, then it's probably going to be Mariah May. She'll probably just waltz in on like her first or second night on the job and then just immediately become champion. Because WWE seems to have this big obsession with just debuting someone and immediately, with no build-up, just make them champion within their first night on the roster, their third night on the roster, or their second night on the roster. Because look at the Motor City Machine Guns. They immediately became tag team champions within 3 weeks. Ricky Starks became North American champion within his first or second match on the roster? And then Stephanie Vaquer and Julia within a couple of months already became top level champions. So this company seems to have this big major habit of just making them champions immediately, just to drive home the fact that they are going to be major players. And that's the only reason why they do it. I mean, look at Ethan Page. He became NXT champion so damn quickly as well. So, really, they just shove these titles right on these people so quickly is because they want to drive it home to the audience that these people are going to be important figures in WWE, and also it's just so then they can show that they are not as bad. AEW might have did these people dirty, but look at all the titles, look at all the gold we're giving these people, to prove that we're the better company, even though Julia and Stephanie Vaquer didn't even work for AEW, if you know what I mean. Julia was more in Stardom, and Stephanie was more in CMLL. But I'm more leaning towards the AEW people that they're signing. But yeah, I don't think Jacy's title reign is going to be that long. Even if Mariah May or Jordynne Grace aren't the ones to do it, I would not put it past WWE to do this whole angle. Like, they've been teasing Fatal Attraction or Fatal Influence. Sorry, I keep calling them by my Universe Mode name, because that's what I called them in my Universe Mode. Fatal Influence. They seem to be building this whole thing where Fatal Influence seem to be having issues. And it's kind of ironic that Fallon Henley is the one that seems to be... I'm not the biggest fan of this idea, because I actually really do like Fallon as a heel. I kind of wish they would turn Jayne babyface instead of Fallon, but I've just got this weird feeling they're probably going to have Fallon Henley probably be the reason Jayne will ultimately lose the title, or Jayne loses the title and then she's going to put all the blame on Fallon Henley, and then Fallon's going to turn babyface. Because I don't know why they just seem to think Jayne isn't capable of being a good guy. Which, how in the world can you tell if you've never even bothered to try? Because she was a babyface for like a couple of weeks. Like I still remember when Jayne was in Chase University and she was being friendly with Thea Hale. And, she briefly joined Chase University for a couple of weeks. Ended up saving Chase University from bankruptcy because they were, on the verge of losing a lot of money and getting bankrupt. Jayne pretty much helped them make money so then Chase University could still thrive. And then about a week or so later, after saving them from bankruptcy, she ultimately calls them all losers. And then she ends up turning heel. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Like, how in the world can you help someone and then just turn your back on them immediately? So, again, how does that prove Jayne is not a good babyface? How does that not prove that Jayne can't be a good babyface if she didn't even get the chance to really show what she could really do as a face? And that is why I'm saying this will probably lead to Fallon Henley turning, because they're too freaking lazy. And they would rather, turn the person that they think makes sense instead of the person that has been a heel for so long. Obviously, they think Jayne is that good of a heel that's probably why they keep her that way. But still, I would kind of still like to see an idea of a babyface Jayne. But regardless, yeah, while I am happy for Jacy, while I am very happy for her, I ultimately believe this is not going to be a long title reign. This will probably be about a month, probably like a month or two title reign. They might just leave her champion until Evolution, because that's probably when Mariah May will debut or Jordynne Grace will challenge for the title. It'll be a couple of months. Jacy will be champion for probably a couple of months, and then she'll lose the title, and then she'll go right back to where she was before. So, while I'm happy for her, I don't see this being a long-term thing.